Joining us now to talk about Fulton Sheen is Dr. Peter Howard. Doctor, welcome to This Is a Day. How are you today?
I am doing well, thank you, all the way across the country. So it's a joy to be able to be with you. This is kind of coffee time in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Are you in California or?
No, I'm in northern Idaho.
Oh, you're
Oh,
okay.
no.
Okay.
So yeah, the little sliver between Montana and Washington. So
Beautiful country.
It is. It really is beautiful. Even though I'm originally from New Jersey, so it's a little bit different.
It certainly is. It certainly is. Well, we have to tell you, we are so excited at Catholic TV because we are huge fans of Archbishop Fulton Sheen, and we have a lot of programming of him, and we have some big plans for September. As a matter of fact, as I said, our whole magazine is dedicated to Archbishop Fulton Sheen. As the church prepares for the Beatification, can you give us an overview of this upcoming conference and why it's such a significant moment for the Catholics in America?
Sure. Thank you. Yes. Well, before I forget, before my wife tells me I forgot, go to fultonsheenconference.com, and that has all the information that you'll need to join us either in person or even virtually with people all around the world. So, and as far as this moment, it's a moment we've waited for a while for. You know, it was almost 7 years ago. We were very close to this moment, but it's more, I think, providential and even prophetic now because we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of our country. And I don't know of a saint who, as Sheen himself would say, he says, we need an American saint and somebody who's lived the American story, who shows us what it means to live our Catholic faith in America and as an American. And lo and behold, he would have known that he was really talking about, I think, himself. And he's such an extraordinary figure. As you mentioned, he captivated the minds and hearts of America in the 1950s, especially when he was on television. He reached 30 million people a week. And his message was simple, was America has to return to God, and it needs a path to do that, a blueprint. And that was really what pretty much his show was about. Life is Worth Living was the Christian philosophy of life presented as the only answer to how to live a life that is truly, fully, as you would say, worth living. So he comes at a time where many Catholics are looking for strength, and they're looking for leadership. They're looking for inspiration. And Sheen shows us, most importantly, the way to be a saint. And I think that's the one thing, like at our conference, we'll be focusing on that will take us, those who are there and those who are watching, to very, very deep levels of why he really is a saint. Because he's not a saint because he was a television star. He's not a saint because he was just he was a celebrity. He was a saint because he knew how to suffer well with Christ. And he loved in a way that those who knew him, it brings them to tears. But it was a man whose life was, as he said, given for the salvation of souls. You know, he said, if souls are saved, everything is saved. Unless souls are saved, nothing is saved. And I think that's the turning point that we have as a nation after 250 years, is where are we going? And his last it was a recorded televised series. It was called Where Are You Going, America? Like Quo Vadis, America. And that was like what he left us with. And now, as we ask that question in a very pivotal moment, we have Fulton Sheen to really show us the way that we need to get our country back to God and to really bring our country to what it was meant to be.
Now, the conference is titled America's Saint, the Catholic Hour is Now. And maybe you could talk about the theme and why you decided on that.
Sure. Well, the Catholic Hour now has a lot of nuance to it because his earliest about 20 years in radio, when he first was becoming popular, he spoke to Catholics, and it was called the Catholic Hour. And it was where he communicated to Catholics around the country, and even non-Catholics watch it, what we needed, what that blueprint is for Catholics to be able to see, especially during World War II, what we needed. The other part, though, is what Sheen was very bold about. He says, look, if you want to know the secret to my power in converting souls, if you want to know the secret of changing the world, remaking the world, he says it's the daily holy hour. And from the day of his ordination, which we just celebrated his anniversary 4 days ago, September 20th, until the day he died in December 9th, 1979. He never, ever broke his promise to make a daily holy hour before our Lord in the Blessed Sacrament. And he says, that's where all of your power will go. He says, all the inspirations of my television shows, every book that he wrote, every sermon he wrote, he said he did it in the presence of the Blessed Sacrament. So I believe that's one of the greatest things that's going to come out of his beatification is the renewal of the family, the renewal of the church and our country is going to come down to those imitating this machine. It's the one thing in his life that impacted mine the most that then led to all that we're doing with Fulton Sheen.
And what are you looking forward to the most, Doctor, in this?
I mean, logistically, when it's over, so much has gone into this. I'm excited about the rediscovery of Sheen and what that's going to mean, especially for priests. The first thing I ever heard of Fulton Sheen was a retreat he gave to priests when I was discerning my vocation in life. And I knew that even though that was for seminarians and priests, it's what he said really applied to everyone. I think when people have that same discovery moment with Fulton Sheen, we're going to see a renaissance in this country and in the church that I don't think we've seen. And it's so needed. So I'm looking forward to the beatification not being a finish line, but truly the launch point for all that's going to be happening afterward, especially as the younger generation discovers him. And those who I talk to who have discovered him, it's changing their life. They're really on fire right now. And I think that that's the exciting point is that we have somebody who really is like a general who's rallying the troops. And we have a country that's ready for that.
It's great. It sounds like the conference is going to be great, and we want to let people know where they can go to find out more about the America's Saint, the Catholic Hour is now.
Absolutely. Go to FultonSheenConference.com, and the conference is right there in St. Louis. So you're going to be there. You're going to be more prepared to receive and celebrate that announcement that Sheen is now blessed by going to this conference, because the speakers that we have are just some of the best that are out there who really know Sheen, who've modeled their lives after him, who've suffered like him, who really get him in such a way that when people encounter those who are living this, I think that's going to be one of the greatest inspirations as well. And like I said, I think it's one of the great preparations for this. FultonSheenConference.com. Stay with us at the hotel where we're at. Stay where the speakers are. Get a chance to learn everything about Sheen. He was Byzantine. He was Roman Catholic. This man was a man for all seasons, and now we're going to begin to see why. So FultonSheenConference.com is the best way to join us.
And now your wife will be happy.
Yeah.
Now we've done it.
And she has done so much work behind the scenes. I mean, she's really the one who's put this together, brought together, I mean, world-class speaker Arthur Brooks is one of them. And then I have to say, it's a special dedication, a shout out to my wife, because she's put everything into this.
Of course. Of course. Doctor, thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you both.